Did you put something in her drink? And damn it, you gonna answer, and you gonna answer me. Promise you that.
Well, man, we recognize. You know, I'm gonna.
Hey, out of order, you out of order, you out of order, hey.
So, that was something. In this video today, we're going to be looking at 2 meetings the super mayor had to deal with in a special day. She had to go to a special meeting for the Thornton Township, and then we get to that Dalton board meeting. Let's see where it goes. So we had some updates from the Lightfoot investigation. We're going to talk about the firefighters show up to represent and tell Henyard how they felt about what's going on. So let's just start from the very beginning. Let's get into it. So we had a special township meeting, Thornton Township meeting, that was first. And of course, Tiffany Henyard arrives late, like her usual time, taking her sweet time, even though she realized she has 2 meetings to take care of this day. One of the things that you can do while you earn that 6-figure paycheck is to show up on time, but that's not going to happen. Hey, Kamal. In this special board meeting for Thornton Township, in this meeting, they actually approved everything, the general fund, the pay for road improvements. But the one thing that was interesting in this meeting is that there's multiple trustees, not just Chris Gonzalez, speaking up, explaining how it's important to have transparency when it comes to people and their taxpayer money.
I'd just like to say that we have vendors and contractors that provide services to Thornton Township that in no way, shape, or form they should not be getting paid. I understand some of the challenges that we have and the work that we need to do going forward. But I just implore everyone to be mindful of what we heard last time as it relates to services that were provided and make sure that we are doing the right thing as it relates to that.
I think anyone who provides a service to Thornton Township should be paid. However, as a board member, I, just want to make sure we receive the information concerning and regarding invoices that we ask for. Sometimes we get the information and sometimes we don't, so we're not able to make an informed decision at maybe the board meeting we're in, presently in, but moving forward, I'm just asking that we receive the information in a timely fashion to make.
If I may, I just want to say that, as far as how the processes and things of that nature, that we can and we should do things differently. To me, it's somewhat reckless to pay non-essential expenditures without a reasonable budget, responsible budget in place yet. Paying out super things, we should only be paying for things that are normal and necessary at the current time, and not things that are out in the future. It seems that we don't have a responsible budget in place.
I know it's a novel concept for Henyard because she doesn't really care about that all that much. Trustee Gonzalez, with a tone that had a lot of frustration, highlighted a reoccurring problem, the timely receipt of information necessary to make informed decisions. We want to make sure we receive the information concerning and regarding invoices that we ask for. Even Jones and Trustee Carlisle had the same concerns. But obviously, Henyard didn't appreciate that, but she got her bills passed. Then she went to her usual talking points, and you're going to hear the same talking points at the Dalton board meeting. She repeats herself a lot, and she does indeed attack some of the trustees, calling them liars.
Since taking over, becoming your supervisor, our township was 20% of Thornton Township knew about the services here, and 80% didn't. Now it is literally reversed. It is 80-20. Over 80% knows that Thornton Township exists, and 80% knows that they can come here and get services from us, such as your light bill pay, gas, water, even help you bury your loved ones. It's so many different things we do, but yet don't get shadowed on the news. But it's sad that they come for clickbait and not really the true meaning of what a township truly does. So I thank you for filming us. Those that do film and put things out, and I just want people to get another side, a positive narrative and not necessarily negative. But in taking over, we created a surplus, and it's shameful that people don't give us our credit to show that, hey, we're doing a great job up here. I know people love mess. I know misery needs company. I need people to see the facts and want the truth and not just clickbait, because right now, you guys use us for clickbait, and some trustees say they don't get information. Every trustee up here get whatever information they request. So when they get up here lying about they don't get something, it's not true. They send emails saying they want to meet with us. We set things up. We set time aside for our staff and trustees to meet with people, and they don't show up.
But this was a quick meeting, and comparing to the other meeting that we're going to be talking about, not that much going on. It wasn't as chaotic as the Dalton board meeting. Let's get into that meeting right now. Now, you can see what happens in the first minute to know that the band is back together and they're going to play the hits.
And then also I see the Board of Trustees have swiped seats, Trustee Belcher and Norwood. Is it a reason you guys switch seats?
Would have to be a reason.
I just asked the question. Everything I'll be so hostile. Is there a reason you guys switch seats?
Nope.
All right. Seems as though you want to go first because you got to keep up with the votes. I think Brittany probably just couldn't keep up with them. But okay.
So we have the angry residents.
My property value is down because of the fact of this. But my property tax go up 3 times. I'm not accepting that.
We have a corrupt mayor and somebody that's just so evil and that just don't care about the residents. You basically let the vendors just unleash their war on the trustees for asking questions.
As a matter of fact, Dalton is at least 13 million in debt from the lawsuit, the $33.5 million lawsuit that Lacey and Perez were involved in.
We have the sniping back and forth between the mayor and the trustees.
You take certain people off. That's called targeting. And I get it because you guys want to control the narrative of everything, but you're the one creating all the chaos and all the misunderstanding.
That's your job.
But yeah, it's my job. Oh, okay. It's my job to go get the money. But yeah, y'all want to tell me what to do. It don't work like
That's
that.
our job.
I ran to lead. I didn't run to follow y'all.
And we got the Mr. Dots guy back to help Tiffany Henyard.
Good evening. I just wanted to say,
Okay, guys, you have to keep order.
Instead of having a deputy police chief, Mr. Clear the Room Lacey, we have a literal superhuman named Terry Young that worked 303 hours over a 2-week period. That's like working about 21 hours a day. He's basically bionic or something. Officer Young, instead of saying clear the room, he likes to say shh.
Chooses not to pay certain people. You take certain people off. That's called targeting. And I get it because you guys want to talk about whatever you feel you don't like, don't understand.
Instead of saying one more outburst, he likes to shush people. Then we have some residents talking about bringing peace and everyone needs to calm down. We all need to work together.
We don't have any peace in our heart. And I know you guys are angry and there's issues to be solved. But check this out. Why don't we all try to work together and solve this? Trustees, mayor, residents, all of us.
Spoiler alert, that did not happen in this meeting. But let's continue. One of the most important parts of this meeting, to me, I believe the true highlight of the meeting was the arrival of the fire department. It was a powerful statement read by Adam, the new president of Local 3766, and it really struck a chord with a lot of people that were in that room. This man is standing up for his team, the firefighters who put their lives on the line every day to protect the people of Dalton. Shout out to anyone that decides to be a firefighter. You basically are risking your life. You go into the building while people are trying to run out that building. And it's shocking and disturbing to hear what they're going through. First of all, let's talk about the sheer disrespect the firefighters have faced.
With fellow members of 3766 looking for answers. Since January of 2020, the village has chose not to settle a contract and refused to bargain with us. They have ignored all requests to reach an agreement and resolve the current situation going on within the fire department. After endorsing Mayor Henyard in 2021, she proceeded to replace our full-time deputy chief with a part-time deputy chief who contributed to her campaign fund. This is where the problems began. Local 3766 filed and won the grievance on a clear violation of our contract. What followed was a dysfunctional negotiation process, which leads us to inform the residents that we've been serving the village without a contract for 5 years. Currently, the village still refuses to negotiate, making progress extremely difficult and if not impossible. The second issue is our 457 accounts, which have been in litigation since 2022. This account is set up for individuals to invest their own money into a retirement fund. The money is withdrawn from the members' paychecks and is supposed to be sent to nationwide. The village does not follow these steps and has no accountability of where the money is or if they've spent it. Once this was discovered, the administration was informed via email by the previous union president that these missing deposits can be considered theft of wages. They reacted by placing him on an administrative leave for inappropriate emails. To this date, we are still 9 to 10 deposits short. This shows lack of accountability and is an act of gross negligence. The third issue, health insurance. Health insurance is covered under the collective bargaining agreement, Article 14. The members of the fire department have run into several problems with our premiums not being met. This has led members and families' claims being denied, but also being sent to collections. This has been brought up to the village numerous times. All requests to date have been ignored. Agreements was filed and escalated to step 4. The fourth issue is our union dues. Per our collective bargaining agreement, Article 3, dues checks, the village is responsible for contributing union dues. We were missing 11 checks since 2023, $12,610. We received 3 unspecified checks. This can also be looked at as theft of wages. Keith Freeman's response to the step 3 process was, this is an issue on the trustees that they do not vote for the bills at from the warrant list at the board meetings. The newest issue is work comp. In the past, we've had multiple issues with work comp to where members have been hurt on the line of duty and their claims have not been filed properly, which led to multiple members being sent to collections. I know that the police department is dealing with similar issues. So my question is, do we have workman's comp insurance? The Dalton Fire Department is here to serve and protect the residents of the village of Dalton, and we do this with pride. We will continue to serve despite the fact our health insurance is not being paid, our retirement funds are being taken from us, and workers' compensation claims are not being handled properly. These are serious issues, and they need to be addressed and fixed immediately.
So since January 2020, the village had flat out refused to negotiate with them. So imagine going to work every day, risking your life, and not being able to have a contract to protect you because the village officials won't come to the table. That's completely outrageous. Then is the issue with Mayor Henyard. Back in 2021, the fire department endorsed her, probably hoping for some positive changes. But what did they get in return? She replaced their full-time deputy chief with a part-time deputy who just happened to be the one that contributes to her campaign. That sounds like pay for play. That's a huge red flag. It's one thing to play politics, but when it compromises the leadership of a fire department, it's a big problem. Local 3766 fought back and won agreements on this matter, which is great, but it seems like there's one battle after another. The village dysfunctional negotiation process had left the firefighters without a contract for 5 years. That's 5 years of uncertainty and instability. This isn't just a clerical error, it's a potential theft of wages. Imagine working hard, putting money away from your future, and then finding out that it's not there. And then the village reaction, they put the previous union president on administrative leave for calling them out, basically shooting the messenger. So there's other issues, health insurance. Their claims are being denied. We talked about this in the last video as well. And then also the union dues. The village hasn't been following the collective bargaining agreement, leaving union dues unpaid and unaccounted for. Workers' comp, that's another disaster. Firefighters injured on the job may have their claims mishandled, leading to more collection issues. This is a big problem. So I hope they can figure something out. It is a true embarrassment. Henyard said basically one thing about the firefighters, and it was probably 2 seconds. I'll show it right now.
It's all about a show for everybody now. And that's what's so sad. So then when we get out here, we got to try to lie to the public about whatever's going on. Just like how y'all talking about the firemen and they came up. Of course, you know, I'm going to get to the bottom of whatever it is. I'm going to do a whole video about it. Because just because somebody say something, don't make it true. Don't make it factual until you fact check it.
Before we get into Tiffany Henyard's long line of nonsense that she likes to spit at every meeting, let's talk about House and his address on Lightfoot and the investigation progress. So House updated residents about the status of the Open Meeting Act violations.
For the residents, we do hear your statements about concerns about Open Meetings Act violations of being in this building. The original meeting that the restrictions occurred with metal detectors, limited seating, the board decided that we felt that it was improper and we adjourned that meeting accordingly. Following that meeting, we've made 2 outreaches in April as well as in May through our attorneys to the Attorney General's office. We had not gotten immediate response. However, thankfully with assistance and persistence through residents as well, Mr. Dan Lee, amongst other residents who have joined in the writing, we've been able to receive a response from the Attorney General's office on June 10th. They responded saying that the matter does determine further investigation and seek a response from the administration. That was June 10th, where the original letter came. June 28th, last Friday, apparently no response has been given. So a second request has been issued. And that second request is essentially saying that if we do not get a response, they have no choice but to deem this an Open Meetings Act violation.
House also reads an email update from Lori Lightfoot. Also, House read a letter from the Attorney General, which concluded that the board did not violate the Open Meeting Act by appointing Lori Lightfoot as a special investigator.
So we do have an update, or I have an update email that was received from the investigation on former Mayor Lightfoot. Has emailed a response that I want to read into record, so that way hopefully this will be much more peaceful. So her statement: we are making consistent progress in addressing the questions the board has asked us to address in its resolution. We have conducted a number of witness interviews, many of which have been very informative and have led to the discovery of other relevant evidence. We have reviewed many lawsuits filed. We have reviewed historic village legislative action, and we have issued scores of FOIA requests to the village of Dalton and elsewhere. As a result of this work, a picture is emerging of the village's finances, the way in which the current executive administration operates, many issues with the police department regarding staffing and operations, and overall how the village form of government does or does not comply with state law, its own ordinances, and long-standing norms regarding the village government. Not surprisingly, there have been obstacles. Chief among them is the village continues to ignore its obligations under FOIA. There is seemingly no identifiable FOIA officer as mandated by state law. Instead, the few communications, if any, are with any anonymous person who refuses to be identified themselves, again, a violation of state law among many issues. This non-compliance with FOIA was expected, and we have a plan to address this and any continuing compliance issues. And while many witnesses have been generous in their willingness to be interviewed, the village mayor's failure to cooperate has a chilling effect on the current employees' willingness to speak or otherwise cooperate. We will continue to work to overcome this problem. While we have made consistent progress, more work needs to be done. We have been very efficient to date in the expenses incurred, and by our estimates, we are well under $20,000 to date. As obligated, we will provide a projection of all costs when we get closer to the $30,000 mark. And as always, we will continue to do our work in a manner that minimizes expenses while diligently following the facts. So that is the statement for the update on this report.
This says the investigation uncovered numerous issues for the village finances, the police department operations, compliance with state laws, and village ordinances. However, the investigation has faced obstacles, the village failure to comply with the FOIA request. There is no FOIA officer. That's bad. It's not legal. And obviously the mayor's lack of cooperation, which at this point, why would she want to cooperate, makes Lightfoot may be done soon. And I am looking forward to see what she has to say. So Attorney General, looks like he's probably done. He probably is wiping his hand, cleaning his hands from the whole Henyard situation. I've made videos talking about the connection of the Attorney General with the Speaker of the House, with the former Attorney Doug Aldo. It's the good old boys club. They all take care of each other. But it looks like when Henyard is just out there embarrassing herself, the protection will eventually leave. And people have to cover their own asses. And they're not going to sit there and continue to try to support Mayor Henyard. So I think finally Kwame Waru realizes that the jig is up. He's going to probably take a step back and let this happen, especially now the FBI is in town. And Henyard talking a lot of crap about Lightfoot and the whole thing being illegal. Remember her and Keith Price talking about how illegal it was. Well, the Attorney General said it wasn't illegal. So I guess we're done with that situation. But let's get into Mayor Henyard's report. It's just a big mix of defensiveness, pride, and then a weird call for unity, which is really doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I am literally the beacon of light for Dalton. I am the one that has made it. I am the one that actually grew up in this town and actually came and governed where I live at because I care so much about where I'm at. If you think about all the hatred and all the negativity, I told you guys, I only make what, about $50,000. $50,000 for all this scrutiny that you guys put me under. I make 50K. So that means somebody really got to love what they do for a living. I love what I do and I want to see Dalton grow. And I think we've been doing an awesome job. And I love the fact that my staff has been on the ground taking care of the business, from getting streets repaved, getting alleys repaved, getting sidewalks done. Back in the day, we used to do 50-50, where the resident had to pay 50% and the village paid the other 50. And they said, why would you guys have to pay 50% for something you don't own? That's a public way. But these are the things that I changed when I became the mayor. So I will wish that people will allow me to lead and stop trying to tell me what to do. I am the leader. I am not in their seats any longer. I was in their seats for 8 years. I win every single term that I run for, every single term. The last seat, which is the mayor seat that I just won by 82%, I will win my next term.
All right.
And just stay tuned to that, because this little crowd that comes here and try to keep up mess and kick up dust for clickbait, for the news, or for just to get a moment and say, hey girl, I was on the news. That's so beneath us. You have to grow, guys, and you have to show people that you are growing and that we should be looking to you for direction. We can't look to you for direction because you're so messy. I just want people to see Dalton for what it is. It's a great place to live. All our numbers are coming in really good.
She wants to emphasize the community events and some of the infrastructure improvements. But the problem is a lot of issues with her speech and how she conducts business. This is why things are so chaotic. She wants to discuss the need for metal detectors, discuss the issues of safety. But the problem is there's some core issues that's troubling the community, and it's based on financial mismanagement and alleged corruption. It seems like she likes to distract from the real issues. And when Henyard speaks, first of all, she talks too quickly and she doesn't speak and say the whole word. I know I struggle with that too. It's on another level with Henyard, and she's just extremely defensive, similar to the township talk. She wants to talk about the administrative achievements and never talk about any of the missteps. She doesn't acknowledge the issues and the controversies surrounding her leadership. The FBI has issued subpoenas related to the allegations of corruption, including the misuse of taxpayer funds and questionable contracts awarded to campaign donors. These are serious accusations that demand transparency and accountability, yet Henyard's speech offers little in terms of any concrete plans to address or rectify these issues. She keeps asserting that this criticism of her administration is largely unfounded and driven by negativity. It just seems as dismissive of genuine community concerns. Residents have raised valid points about skyrocketing property taxes and mismanagement of funds and the overall direction of the village. But Henyard labels these criticisms as just negativity, and it's just alienating the very people she's supposed to be serving and protecting. Remember, there's a lot of controversies. There's a lot of allegations of her weaponizing the police, spending taxpayer money on luxuries, involvement in a bribery case with a very shady construction company. It's a lot of problems. Henyard wants to try to project a positive image on her administration, and it just does not work. It's falling short, and we'll see why a little later of how badly it falls and how chaotic this whole situation is. So for instance, again, talk about money. Trustee Belcher had a lot to say about that. When it comes to financial mismanagement and lack of transparency, there's a lot of issues. Belcher, like many people, are worried about how the village money is being handled. She brought up the issue of vehicle leases.
The vehicles that we have, because we currently had at that time 46 vehicles, you guys have bought 30 new vehicles, which totaled $1,105,000 and some change. My question to that was, and I asked I don't know what Devontae's title is at this point, but I asked in reference to, did we turn in some vehicles? Because when I looked at the meeting, it said based on we were gonna be turning in vehicles for the lease for the fleets. None of the, per the guy, Christopher Fry, who emailed me back, said that none of the vehicles was turned in. So if we didn't turn in any vehicles, and we purchased 28 new vehicles, because that's what the exact total is, 28 new vehicles, where are those old vehicles?
The board had approved a contract for new vehicles for 2021, but there's no clear record of what happened to the old vehicles. Belcher wanted to know where these vehicles went and why the board wasn't informed. It seemed like it might be some shady business or just plain incompetence. More like those cars were probably sold or something. Also slammed the administration for not prioritizing spending on important things. Even though they approved leases to save money, the administration kept spending big on other things. This kind of mismanagement meant that the village couldn't pay its bills, leaving them in financial distress.
So again, these things are not being brought in front of the board. And what happens is we're going broke. And we continue to say this, and this is a big issue. So again, I'm going to say there's a lack of transparency. We know that there's a lot of things that's going on that we don't even know about, such as with the credit card statements, they continue to refuse to give us those. They increased that credit card limit from $20,000 a month to $50,000 a month. And every month it's replenishing and things are being spent every month. And of course, it's unbeknownst to the board. So again, residents, these are issues. These are the reasons why you see us have this back and forth, because you all need to know how the money is being spent. I heard her make a comment regarding taxes. It's unbelievable to me that you sit here and tell a resident that we're the reason why their taxes are increasing when we all know that you don't follow a budget. So common sense tells us all, anybody who have a household, that when you don't follow a budget, you cause a deficit. Any money that's not approved for, so that $1 million skating rink that wasn't approved for, guess what? The taxpayers have to pay for it somehow. So whether the board approved it or not, we are all still paying for it, because again, with a deficit, anytime there's overspending, that difference is on the backs of the taxpayers.
The village credit card limit being bumped from $20,000 to $50,000 a month without the board's approval. She pointed out that this limit was maxed out every month, which raised red flags about where the money was going. It seemed like the administration was spending money like there was no tomorrow without any oversight. And then a really big obvious issue, and Belcher talked about this, was the no-show from the key financial personnel at these meetings. The village officer and the CPA, who should be there to answer financial questions and ensure accountability, were missing. They're always missing.
But you can never give an answer, a definite answer. Have we received $6.8 million? Okay, why is the finance person? Last month, I asked the same thing. Why the finance person not here? No answer. It's Monday again. What is Monday, her off days? Well, maybe we should change the meeting. I don't know. But it don't make no sense that we have to keep doing this.
Just to follow up on Trustee Belcher's point, after last meeting, I did email the CPA and ask them to be present or in attendance. They responded saying that they were willing. They were actually here in the parking lot and were not allowed into the building. Thank you.
All right, is that it? All right, call her up.
She be tricking us.
This is a huge problem. Maybe some of these questions could be answered. Maybe some issues can be resolved if the people who are checking the numbers can answer some basic questions. But let's see what Mayor Henyard had to say in response to this.
Okay, so in the end, everybody made their little victory speech. Hey, great. But the truth is, you guys don't pay people because you pull them off the warrant list. The residents are not slow. They see what's going on. You saying pay the vendors, they did the work. But yet y'all just took a ton of people off from getting paid. They did the work, right? Then pay them, approve it. But y'all won't do it. But everybody give a speech about, hey, we're not paying people. That's because the board chooses not to pay certain people. You take certain people off. That's called targeting. And I get it, because you guys want to control the narrative of everything, but you're the one creating all the chaos and all the misunderstanding. Because once again, I've stated before, if you really wanted answers, you would call. I always say call me, none of y'all call me. And you would come and sit down and talk about whatever you feel you don't like, don't understand. But you guys don't do that. It's all about a show for everybody now. And that's what's so sad.
Well, obviously the same old, same old. And then Keith Freeman tried to jump in and try to tackle some of these concerns. Let's see how well he did.
The lease was signed October 15th. I don't need you, me, and Chris Fry on there. What my conversation was to you about, or to the board or whoever is running the day-to-day operations, is that if these are something that, not even the cars, the fact that selling anything that's a surplus goes in front of the board of trustees. Am I not right?
You're right about that, but
Okay.
we didn't have a conversation about that on the phone.
That's
you didn't
true.
mention that on the phone. What you mentioned to me is that you would like to place on the agenda a discussion item. You didn't say, and I quote, I want to discuss this prior to me putting it on the agenda. That's one. The second thing is that part of that agreement may say that you are swapping out whatever those vehicles are. And I can't have an intelligent conversation with you about that if it's not in front of me. I think to be helpful to one another, so I can be prepared, so that the mayor can be prepared, and everyone in our administration can be prepared, it would have been better served for us to have that conversation prior to now.
That's fine. Take the cars out. The issue is anything that goes as a surplus that's being sold by the Village of Dalton, does it go in front of the Board of Trustees? Yes or no?
Yes. Now, can
Okay.
I ask you a question? May I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Do you have a copy of the contract with Enterprise in front of you that says that, hey, listen, these are a list of vehicles that could be swapped out that was already prior approved for the board?
Absolutely. You know I do.
That's
And
great.
I got the email that says, hi, Kiana, attached is the current active lease schedules as well as the list in the Excel of current vehicles on the lease with Enterprise. I don't see where we ever received a vehicle to sell on your behalf or to trade in. Also, I've attached a master lease agreement in case that you need it for a reference. I'll work on pulling all of the invoices. Please let me know about payment.
So you answered the question yourself.
No.
The question, listen, no,
that's not the question.
listen, wait, hold on.
That's not the question.
No.
Because I have a separate list of an
You're not
Excel
even
sheet
listening to
of
what I'm
cars
saying.
that have been sold.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you guys already have a master list of the vehicles that are supposed to be sold.
It's not you guys.
So yeah, he didn't do a great job either. Obviously, you see, he admitted that he didn't have the necessary documents to answer detailed questions about the vehicle leases. You think maybe he should show up and actually be prepared for the meeting, but those cars may be sold and he doesn't want to talk about that. But when you think about it, his responses came off as evasive, failing to provide the transparency and clarity that Belcher and the public were looking for. And then for the big moment, we are basically at the end of this meeting. Now, there's supposed to be another meeting after that. So they kind of finished the regular board meeting and had to go a special board meeting. And during the special board meeting, they have residents go back and speak. And obviously, this happens.
Like you finally catching up. And literally, I think that what the people are asking for is not unreasonable. And it is really interesting to see somebody sitting in the people's business speaking about not being prepared to answer questions of an elected official. And to think that they can do that with an attitude or sass or zestiness is a little disrespectful. And so I would encourage Mr. Freeman to make sure that the next time you come, you do like Kiana and just bring all your damn files. And then the last thing that I'm gonna say is I didn't notice that my good fellow advocate Andrew Holmes was in the building. And that's why literally I wish that I would have looked up before I read the statement, because as it relates to you, you're the reason that I'm here. And you're the reason that everybody is going through what they're going through as it relates to an advocate, because you're supposed to be one. But you've been accused of something that's very shameful. And the least you could have done is given us a very basic and comprehensive statement, literally giving sympathy and understanding to a survivor, be it that you felt that it was true or not, and you could have at least declared your innocence, which noted you haven't done. And so I'm simply asking you right now, because me sitting here looking at your face, I'm utterly disgusted. Because how dare you take your ass back outside and stand with any family when there's a woman with a child that's waiting on a response from you, literally as an elected official and as an advocate about what you did. Was it consensual? Was it not? Did you that woman? Did you put something in her drink? And damn it, you gonna answer, and you gonna answer me. I promise you that.
Yeah, man, we recognize. You know, I'm gonna.
Hey, out of order, you out of order, you out of order, hey.
They should have never let us in.
See?
get back. No, it's for show. No, it's because of a break. It's not for show. It's not for show. You heard her.
The interesting thing about this is that Andrew Holmes was going to say something. He was going to finally speak, and it went the way it did. Seems like that wasn't a great move right there. It looks like perhaps if Andrew Holmes was allowed to speak, we can hear exactly what he had to say about this very serious issue. But unfortunately, as many residents tried to talk about, trying to have some peace, trying to figure out the hard issues, trying to have some ability to speak without going into chaos, we got some chaos. The FBI is the only one that can fix this situation. That's it. We're all waiting for the FBI to figure out what's the next move here. This situation is beyond fixing. This is too chaotic. It's too emotional. We need, at this point, the feds need to go in and start regulating. I don't see how any of these people currently constructed are ever going to work together. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And until there's some changes, we're just going to keep seeing this kind of issue happening in these meetings. Serious changes need to happen. But what do you guys think about what happened at the end there? I actually want to know your thoughts on how that all unfolded at the end there, because that came out of left field and I wasn't anticipating that at all. I've seen some physical-ish skirmishes back and forth, but and usually it doesn't end the meeting. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
For those that keep saying people going to jail, y'all gonna see who's gonna be going to jail from this board. So stay tuned, because what you think is good for me is damn sure good for you. So thank you so much for listening. We're gonna play the video now.